Hello. Um, Welcome. I am new. I have made several attempts at trying to make my first video, and I find that I'm not scripted, so I tend to go all over the place. So this is my third attempt at doing a video. I'm going to try to keep this narrow. I only have 10 minutes on my time slot. So I just wanted to talk to those people who do not seem to understand that the Democratic Party that they voted for left you a long time ago. These people are the deep state. Who are the deep state? The deep state is the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Khazarians, the Zionists. They are the big bankers. And this goes back a long way in history. I can have you research, look up 1913, the Federal Reserve. So with the 1913 Federal Reserve, all the major bankers got together in Jekyll Island, right off of Georgia, and all the major players were there. So J.P. Morgan, you had the Rothschilds, you had the Rockefellers, you also had a couple other, the top wealthy men in the world. And I can't remember all their names, I'm sorry, but I would have to look it up again. But there were quite a few of them there. Now, during this meeting to create this Federal Reserve, which was to rob we the people, okay? This was not for our benefit. This was creating this IRS. It's all money laundering, and it's taking our money away from us and putting it in their pockets. IRS, us paying income tax, was originally voluntary. All right. If you wanted to pay taxes, you could pay taxes towards your government to help them out. Now we're forced. We have to do it no matter what. So anyway, back to this meeting. So in 1913, when they had this meeting, there were a few of these wealthy bankers that did not think that the Federal Reserve was a good idea. The deep state, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, end of this, J.P. Morgan is part of that. These men decided that they had to eliminate the few bankers that were against their idea to set this plan into action. Now, a lot of you are going to call me a conspiracy theorist. I totally get it, but if you research it, you'll find it for yourself. Do not use Google to research anything because it is owned by the deep state. All right? They control it. Anything owned by deep state is censored. You will only learn what they allow you to learn. Okay? So you have to be careful. Use DuckDuckGo. Use Brave. Use something else. Do not use Google, okay? Because it's completely censored. So the conspiracy part, it has been put in the records. It's there. The Titanic, okay? J.P. Morgan was supposed to be on that ship. He is the one that funded the building of the Titanic. There were two major bankers. J.P. Morgan sent them free tickets to travel aboard this new ship that he paid for and gave them, free everything for them. At the last minute, J.P. Morgan backed out. Now, why would that be? That's a good question. Now, let's look at the captain, Captain Smith. Captain Smith is part of the Freemasons. The Freemasons are also part of the deep state. You have to look at the whole picture here. It's everything. So, before this ship took off, the Masonic deep state got in touch with Captain Smith, and they told him, gave him his orders of what he was supposed to do. Now, Captain Smith has traveled that route from that spot in Europe to America many times. He was a very good captain. He knew the route. He knew where the iceberg field was. Okay, he knew where it was. Excuse me. He was told to crash this ship. All right. We look at the Titanic from the movie like, oh, it's a love story. No, it was not a love story. The two bankers that were on that ship, that were two of the wealthiest men in the world, with the others at that Jekyll Island meeting to create the Federal Reserve, went down with that ship. So what does that mean? J.P. Morgan was not on board. Captain Smith did his orders. He crashed that ship. We all know the history about the thousands of people that died, and it was awful. Excuse me. Now, this leaves the deep state members free from anybody that was going to go up against them about starting the Federal Reserve. So that is when all that started. Now, what about other things that they did? Birth certificates. We never had birth certificates in the 1800s. People think, oh, well, that's just it's to what? There is no what. We shouldn't have to have it. Do you know your birth certificate? You are bought and sold from the time you are born. Your birth certificate is sold between the bankers. So at some point, fingers crossed that NASARA goes into place and we can rectify that situation. All right. Deep state. I've already mentioned the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. How about the Khazarians? Who are the Khazarians? The Khazarians are fake Jewish people. They are not true Jews. I have nothing against a true Jew. But your Khazarians, that's the Khazarian Mafia, the Zionists, they come from the Bolsheviks. Remember the Bolsheviks back in the early 1900s? When they were in Russia, they killed as many white Christian people as they could. They have always been against the white Christian people. And if you are not aware of the depopulation going on right now, what do you think the vaccinations are for? The whole COVID thing, the vaccinations are a depopulation thing. And sure, call me conspiracy theorist. I don't care, because I have been doing research. I'm listening to everybody that I possibly can. And I suggest if you're new to this, you should do the same. All this information came as a complete shock to me. I started learning all this stuff when COVID first hit. So one good thing that came out of COVID was it allowed me the time to go down all these rabbit holes. If you haven't done it yet, I suggest you research and learn as best you can, because there's so much information out there. There are so many other people that you could follow to learn what is really going on in this world. The MSM is not going to tell you the truth. CNN, MSNBC, I mean, come on. They're not showing you like all the people that are, gathering together all across the country. All these rallies, all these marches against what? The vaccines, against the mandates, against the passports, against the masks. The masks don't work. Come on. And my time is almost up. So this is my first video. If you like it, hey, great. I will try to make a few more with some different topics. And again, this is new. So, and if you need to fact check me on anything, feel free. Thank you and have a blessed evening.